Our adventure through South America continues. We've crossed Brazil from east to west and are approaching the Peruvian border. We've heard that the area that we are entering, Peru, is gripped with political protests. There are fuel and food shortages as the roads we were planning to travel has many roadblocks. We would have 600 plus kilometers to travel before we were guaranteed to buy fuel in a small town called Quensemil. But the detour to avoid this road is more than 2,000 kilometers. So today we are saying, ciao Brazil, muito obrigado. It was a great visit. And we say, hola Peru. We're a little bit nervous because of the situation. We have extra fuel. We are taking it slow and carefully. How are you feeling, honey?
No, I think we're fucking crazy.
And then we are going to take the first 230 kilometers off to Puerto Maldonado. We're going to pause there and get a campsite and check out the situation, and then take it another leap a little bit forward, checking for fuel all the time. We have a range of about 600, 650 maximum, but we're not counting the 50 that's reserve. So we've driven about 120 k's, 140 k's. We came to the little town of Mavila. Very peaceful roadblock. No funny business. There's a little tent up. There was a big log over the road, and the cop about 50 k's ago said, we think he said there's a roadblock till 11, and it's just before 11 when we arrived.
Very spot on time.
Yeah. And as I went to have a look, the guy moved the log, so I jumped up back in the car and we are cruising past. So hopefully that's the only one for today. We've got about 90 k's to go to our destination, where we're going to pause at Puerto Maldonado, and we're going to then plan the next stretch.
So we are 200, that would be 200 kilometers of 1,800 that we have to cover before we reach the coast.
Yeah. And okay, we will keep checking for fuel. Yeah, this is a typical roadblock machine. So I managed to get 2 gallons of fuel at the very busy petrol station of the queue. There's a limit per person. I hope it's 2 gallons, not 2 liters. It was 25 sols, which is quite a bit of money. And now we have another 70 kilometers worth of fuel in the car. But they were very nice. They made me skip the queue because I'm in a wheelchair. Yeah. So it was actually very quick for me, although there's a Moorse queue stretching very far. Driving through Puerto Maldonado, we ran into our first political protest, and the protesters instructed us to return to our campsite. This made us very nervous and made us doubt our odds of successfully pushing through the roadblocks the next day. In the morning, we're in Puerto Maldonado, and the mission for today is to get through as many roadblocks and to get as much fuel as possible as we head further into Peru. We'll see how it goes. We packed up. We've got partners in crime behind us. Another couple in a high ace. First Chilean overlanders we've met. And hopefully we will be able to get through and get as close to Cusco as possible. It'll be an interesting day on the road.
How many kilometers?
Well, we would like to do it at least 230 before we get fuel. And it's about 500 to Cusco. And Karine is all excited to get rid of the mozzie and the humidity.
Today is my day.
You're going to get cool.
Yes, cool, calm and collected.
Yeah. So yeah, let's see how the day goes, and we'll take you along. And we're on the road, followed by the minimal photos. I will link the links in the description of this video, you can see what they are up to. They've refurbished the house.
They work very hard.
Yeah, they worked on repainting the interior and some of the exterior and fixing everything. Yeah. So we left just after 7. We hope we can skip the blockades in this way, or we have plenty of time to wait or talk our way through the blockades. Just so far, all the petrol stations are closed.
Okay, so we are out of Puerto Maldonado. We saw quite a few like branches and stuff that was on the road yesterday, burned branches, but we are at the petrol station at the moment. We filled up our jerry can, 20 liters. Very expensive. Mooi kaart. 812 rand for 20 liters. What's the sum? How much is that a liter?
40 bucks about.
40 rand.
40 rand. So about $3.50 a liter.
We are, so the tank is full, we've got extra fuel. We should be okay.
Yeah.
We must just not get any roadblocks today. It's Saturday today. So.
Yeah. It's part of the master plan to travel during the protests in Peru.
This is our friends.
As we approached our first big roadblock, we saw trucks queuing for many kilometers, and we got more and more nervous. The trucks were loaded with a wide variety of goods coming from Brazil or Peru and heading inland towards Cusco, the same direction we wanted to take. We could see that some of the trucks had been there for many days. The roads were blocked with a big empty burnt out tanker, and there were lots of people standing around. Jorge and I got out to ask permission to pass. We did not record any video, as some of the protesters became quite aggressive when someone tried to take a video with their cell phone.
Okay, so our first serious roadblock. Looks like a tanker that was burned out is over half of the road. We drove to the front of the queue and they are trying to negotiate so that we can pass, but there's a lot of people talking.
After an hour-long discussion, we eventually got permission to drive through, although Jorge had to borrow the protesters a spanner to remove the cable that was blocking the road. But at least we were through the first roadblock. How many more ahead we did not know.
Come to my speelbase.
The broken trees and branches blocking the road became more and more frequent as we continued on. We also started hitting more manned roadblocks, with Jorge and I getting out each time to chat and ask permission to be allowed through. It became easier as the protesters started asking us questions about what happened at previous roadblocks, and we could share information with them about police movements. The protesters were also very friendly towards us, and there was no aggressive behavior.
Thank you.
The impact on the Peruvian population became more and more evident, with long queues at petrol stations and places where cooking gas was sold. But we kept pushing on with the minimal furgos behind us. At this roadblock, I had a long conversation with the protesters, and they were really interested what we thought about their plight. The one lady knew about the South African struggle, and we had a nice long chat while I waited for the two vans to drive past all the trucks queuing. This was a double roadblock with two different groups manning the barricades. Therefore, it took quite a bit longer for us to be allowed to pass through. We also started seeing long queues of trucks waiting to take supplies into the area. We saw more and more people walking, trying to find a ride towards Cusco. We decided not to pick up anyone, as we did not know where we would be sleeping next to the road that night.
We had a little bit of a situation with the minimal furgos. The rear box of the exhaust popped a hole in it, and then the car didn't want to start, and then we had a look, and instead of like we did last time, we rushed to get a tow truck.
We had a beer.
We had a beer and we chilled a bit, and we looked, and it sounded to me like it wasn't getting fuel, and luckily Jorge knew what there was an issue with some electrical problem, and he replaced the part that he was actually carrying, because I think it gave problems in the past. So now the car actually started again. It's got a little bit of a sound like a VW Combi on it, but it's driving very slow. Downhill it's doing okay. Uphill it's struggling a bit.
Driving behind him.
Yeah, we behind them, and we're 30 k's to the closest town, where there's 2 or 3 garages where hopefully he'll get it. No, it's okay. Yeah, so downhill it's doing well, but it's going to take us a while to do this 30 k's. Well, at least an hour. At 10 k's an hour. At 10 k's an hour. It's going to take us 3 hours. But it depends how much uphills there are. We're really crawling uphills and speeding down there. But it's actually been a great day. We went through most of the blockades without too much of a problem, and we talked ourselves through a few of them. So yeah, in my opinion, it's been a win-win. And they're actually racing away from us.
Yes, they're speeding.
They're speeding away from us.
And the kilometers an hour that we are supposed to.
Yeah, and we will probably spend the night with them, and tomorrow we will head further on.
As we started to climb into the Andes Mountains, with a sense of relief we realized that we've made it through the last of the roadblocks. Next up, we had to take on the heights of the Andes mountain range.
It's 4,785 meters, coming from, I think we were at 700 meters yesterday, and it is freezing. We're getting some light hail every now and then.
But that's a story for another time, so please remember to like, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you won't miss out on future adventures. Thank you for our Patreons for making these videos possible.